subject matter of certain things comes up, and this was an obvious one. Rodgers came across as very angry and upset, and enough was smoothed over for him to come back. Question is what happens next? That's what always happens. We churn through stories in the non-playing season, as we call it here on NFL Network. And how does it manifest in wins and losses once toe meets ball, as it will starting today? How do you think everything that happened or didn't happen between draft day and today affect play this coming season? What do you think, Steve?
You want me to start off?
Sure.
You know, we're doing this again. This was last year's drama. We're revisiting this whole thing, and it all started back when they drafted and moved up and drafted Jordan Love and really didn't communicate with him, and you know the story. So last year he was playing with the eye of the tiger, and you know, MVP, 48 touchdowns. He was as good as we've ever seen him. And you know what? Here we go again. I think it's going to be the sequel. I think it's going to be, he is going to try to prove that he is the greatest on earth. And he's got a receiver over there, Devontae Adams, he's trying to help him become the top paid receiver or whatever that is. I think we're going to get another great season out of both of these guys.
It's not just that, though, Steve. And the question is, if you don't mind me just interjecting, what happens, you know, it's not just what he was feeling about Jordan Love being drafted. He was removed from the field in an NFC Championship game that everybody's still talking about, including a Jeopardy contestant who jokingly brought it up to him when he didn't know the final answer, sort of like, you know, Cliff, you know, from Cheers, you know. So it's kind of fascinating to me, Steve. How do you think that will play out with the coach? Do you think he's going to call plays differently for his quarterback?
You know, he chose to kick the field goal there, which was surprising. But, you know, they're 13-3 2 years in a row with Matt LaFleur. You know, that's a heck of a start together, right? And if they can do that again, or 14-3, that's a great. They just need to take the next step and get past that championship game. You know, it's just a matter of hurt feelings with Aaron Rodgers. He cut his contract down a year. He's going to be there a while. I'm a Packer fan. I hope he stays, but we're going to be watching with interest. I don't know if he's going to be there long term, Kurt.
And we've always been impressed with what Aaron Rodgers does between the lines and the way that he plays. But I'm always impressed as well with his ability to focus through different things. You go back to 2014, and we got the old RELAX, relax. We got this. They finished the season winning 11 of their last 13 games. In 2016, we got we're good. We're going to run the table here. They win 10 straight, or they win 10 straight games to finish the season strong. I feel like this is one of those, Irv, where it's like, off-season? Are we talking about the off-season here? Like, what are we talking about here? It's time for the season. Aaron Rodgers is going to focus in, and Aaron Rodgers is going to be Aaron Rodgers and not worry about all that stuff. Yeah, it might be that little chip on his shoulder that focuses him a little bit more, but he's got an unbelievable ability to focus through different situations, get locked in, and play good football. I expect nothing less this year.
Which will serve the Packers and their fan base well. You know, to be real with you, Aaron Rodgers seems like the kind of guy, when I just step back and say, that likes a fight. And it brings the best out of him. He did an excellent job in this offseason, guys. He made sure that he separated management from player. Nobody on the field, even his head coach, you know, made that call. But he was like, hey, you know, I'm great with my head coach. I'm great with every player. He made sure that those guys knew that. So when he got back, he can take care of his business. I think, Aaron Rodgers didn't do all of this and plan to go play bad. You still ain't finished. You're not finished seeing the plan. He still has the plan. He'll play well. Devontae Adams turned down being one of the highest paid receivers in the league to play again. But he did that to show his guy, I'm loyal to you. I won't take a deal. I'm going to leave another $10 million a year on the table right now because he makes about 13 because I'm loyal to you. I'm expecting those two to light it up.
I don't think there's any question they're going to play well. I mean, the question is what happens on 4th and short? What happens on 4th and 8? What happens when
he'll get to do what he wants to do. And what's it going to be next year?
Defer to your own 12. It worked out for Tampa, you know? And I think that's the general theme that Rodgers has been trying to establish, and I can't wait to see how that gets established between the lines, starting today in Jacksonville, where Stacey Dales is standing by.
Rich, today marks the Packers' first trip to Jacksonville since Week 1, 2016. The journey starts here, but despite all the drama that ensued this offseason with QB Aaron Rodgers, expect no drop-off. Wide receiver Davante Adams said this week, "This is probably the hungriest team I've ever been around." He also noted, "Everybody understands how reachable and realistic it is to get to the next step. That's a Super Bowl." As for the vibe in this locker room, both Rodgers and Adams noted, "It's all about focus. Forget the pressure. This is a focused group." And if you're wondering about the last dance, Adams said, "Every season in the NFL is like a last dance. No season and group is the same from year to year." They are immersed in the present, Aditi Kinkhabwala, as I send it to you in Orchard Park.
Stacey, there's been a lot of talk this week comparing the Bills quarterback Josh Allen to a young Ben Roethlisberger. The ability to move, their escapability, their arm strength. Now, the Steelers certainly have witnessed that in losses the last 2 years to the Bills. But Allen said, let's slow our roll a little bit. Roethlisberger is a future Hall of Fame quarterback. Now, as for that Hall of Fame quarterback, at 39, when Roethlisberger says that he does actually feel fresher, he has looked fresher. He's a full year removed from that elbow surgery. He's been fully engaged by all accounts in this new offense. He promises that he will go under center. He promises that he will do play action. But this is all, of course, behind an offensive line featuring 2 rookies.
Ben Roethlisberger, he's back.
Steelers Nation excited about what we're about to see.
Touchdown Steeler. Beauty by Roethlisberger. Yeah, I like that.
The Steelers are 11-0, staring their first loss in the eyes.
He's just not seeing the field.
When you play like poo, you should get talked about like that.
The Steelers season ends with a thud. It really hurts.
I'm sorry, brother.
With Ben's current cap number, some adjustment will have to be made.
The Steelers have made it official. Ben, now 39, with a new contract.
Feel great. Every year seems like there's some urgency to it, and there's no guarantees you're ever going to make the playoffs again. This could be the last chance you have.
Get back.
Ben was drafted in the first draft we ever covered. How about that on NFL Network? He's in his 18th season, just like us, and we're 19th season we're in right now. But you could see last year, lone remaining undefeated team then absolutely hit a wall and then got blown out in their playoff loss to the Browns. Michael Irvin, has the championship window closed for Ben Roethlisberger, yay or nay?
And there's so much goes into winning a championship in the NFL. That's why it's so difficult, because there's so many moving parts. The wonder of being, leading a team, throwing a team, passing a team to a Super Bowl, yeah, that one has some nails in it. But a wonder of him maybe Peyton Manning a team to a Super Bowl where he's making the right plays, putting his team in the right plays, making sure his team is not making mistakes, allowing that defense. And then got a nice Najee Harris running the football, and he got Mike Tomlin. Now that's a possibility. That's a possibility.
I'm going to agree with you. I think it's still cracked open because they have a good football team around. They got a good defense. Hopefully they can get that running game along. We saw last year. Started out 11-0, and they played really well, but it was Ben dinking and dunking. It wasn't Ben buying time and making those big plays down the field and those GCPs, as I like to call them, those game-changing plays. It's more about, can he manage this thing? Can they run the football? Yeah, he can make enough plays if everything else comes together. I'm just with you. I don't know if he can carry a team to a Super Bowl.
That window's not closed, and there's a crack, like you said. When you start off 11-0 and you end up 12-4, they dipped at the end. You're still a good football team, so you got to figure out, how do I take another step? They got better by drafting Najee Harris from Alabama. All right, this guy is the real deal. Now, how much they use him remains to be seen, but they've got the great defense. This team is built to play with an old quarterback or a rookie because they play great defense. And now you add a little bit of an element in the run game. I think that will improve this offense dramatically. So that window is wide open. There's some competition, of course, but the Steelers are not out of it yet.
Late in the season, Ben was missing throws. I mean, dink and dunk throws, small throws. We're forgetting all the pounding Ben took early in his career. It's coming due now. That when Ben can't make those little dink and dunk throws, that interception we just showed, that's. I thought I had more strength in my arm, and it just couldn't get
He
there.
had that surgery on the elbow. That's
and I guess to bring it all together, late in the season last year, they were one-dimensional. Nobody thought in a single second they were going to run it.
Right.
Everyone just assumed that they were going to throw it, and then because of the arm concerns or issues, however you want to put it,
played
everything was
right up
tight in the box.
See
They
what you
couldn't
could
win
do.
football games like the Chiefs clearly have the last couple of years, or since Mahomes has come into being, or Reed's been there. It's been a long
got faith in
time
Mike Tomlin.
of success for the Chiefs. Taking on the Browns today, Jeffrey Chadilla is there.
Yeah, Rich, and the big story throughout the offseason here has been the rebuilt offensive line. They bring in Joe Thuney at guard, Orlando Brown Jr. at left tackle, and have 3 first-year guys playing on the right side of that line. But keep in mind, this is a big test today facing the Cleveland Browns. They'll see Jadeveon Clowney, and they will see Myles Garrett at defensive end. And Orlando Brown Jr. talked about the challenge that comes with facing a guy like Myles Garrett. Super athletic, a ton of moves, and very physical. Brown said he's going to have to keep his feet under him, keep his balance, and be ready for this guy when he comes with that bull rush. And now we'll send it over to Ian Rappaport.
Thanks, Jeff. When the Houston Texans play the Jacksonville Jaguars today, franchise quarterback Deshaun Watson will be inactive. He will be watching just like the rest of us. Expect this to continue really throughout the season. Of course, you know by now, Watson demanded a trade. The team did entertain trade offers, held very firm on a strong price. No trade materialized, so Watson has vowed not to play for the Texans. That is the plan this season. I'm told a couple important things. First of all, expect trade talks to pick up around the trade deadline if some of the interested teams, perhaps the Panthers, perhaps the Dolphins, if they struggle. More important factors involving the Deshaun Watson situation. The NFL has no plans to put him on the commissioner's exempt list, barring new information. And of course, he is facing 22 civil lawsuits and 10 criminal complaints alleging sexual misconduct. As of right now,